Alright guys, this is the first video for 6.2. I'm actually going to make several small videos with multiple examples in them with each of the different scenarios. So this is part A. On the next slide I have the formula along with a set of steps. Please write it down and have it in your notes ready to follow along through the examples. I will not be going over that in the video. So here's our first example. What we're going to be doing is plugging in our known values into the vertex form of a function, which is f of x is equal to a x minus h squared plus k. Now remember, when we're talking about our vertex in a quadratic function in vertex form, the x value is actually our h and the y point is our k. So we're actually going to be substituting those values in here and here. We're also going to substitute the values for the point that it gives us. So it gives us the equation of a parabola that's passing through the point 5 and negative 6. So we're going to plug those in for x and y. Okay, so I'm going to plug 5 in for x and negative 6 in for y. So x is right here in our equation. Now y, it's not explicitly stated, right? We know that f of x is the same thing as saying y. So I'm going to plug in that negative 6 on the left-hand side. And I'll do it here in the different colors. Hopefully you can see it. If not, I'm doing my best here. So we're going to have y is equal to, or f of x is equal to a, which we're going to solve for. And then we have x minus h. Now I'm just going to put parentheses in here for everything that I'm going to substitute, because you want to make sure that you catch any double negatives that might happen. And that's going to happen here where you have the h. Okay, so my x is 5. My h is 3. I'm going to do that in blue. And my k is 2. Okay, so all you're going to do is simplify from here. So we have negative 6 is equal to a times, there's no double negative within this parentheses, so we have 5 minus 3 is 2, quantity squared, plus 2. So then we're just going to keep simplifying through here. A times 2 squared is 4, plus 2. So we have negative 6, and I'm just going to rewrite this for a plus 2. So in order to solve for a, you're just going to subtract 2 on each side. 4a is equal to negative 8. Divide each side by 4. A is equal to negative 2. To negative 2 there. Okay, now this is important that we have this, because now we can rewrite our equation. Now that we know that a is 2, we know two things about it. It's going to have a stretch of a factor of 2, and it's also going to have a reflection across the x-axis. So it's going to be opening down. So now we know a little bit more about our quadratic function. So all you're going to do is plug it back in. So we have f of x. The only thing you're going to plug in are your values for a. So 2 times x minus 3, your value for h, and your value for k. Alright, so this is the solution here. Okay. Not too much work, just be careful, watch out for double negatives, and be careful that you plug in the correct point in for h and k. Okay, don't plug in the second point here for h and k.
I'll do the things for the picture.
Okay. Alright guys, here we have our second example. The same thing, we're going to be plugging in our values for x, y, h, and k into our vertex form here. So we have our vertex that's at negative 1, 1, that's our h and our k, and you're going to want to watch for your double negatives here. Passing through the point 1, negative 7, that's our x and our y. So I'm just going to plug it in. We know that on the left we have our y. So negative 7 is equal to a times, again, always put your parentheses in here to catch any double negatives. Okay. So my y, I already have it here, x is here. minus h, which is -1, and k, which is +1. And then just go ahead and simplify. So -7 is equal to a. This double negative here becomes a positive, so we have 1 plus 1, quantity squared, plus 1 on the right. -7 is equal to a times 2 squared plus 1, 4 plus 1, 4a plus 1 minus 1. So now we're going to go ahead and start solving for it. I'm going to come up over here. So we have -8 is equal to 4a. Divide each side by 4. A is equal to -2. Okay, so same as before, you're going to have a stretch of a factor of 2, and it's going to be reflected across the x-axis. So when you rewrite your equation, okay, you substitute your value for A, your value for H. Now here it's going to be a double negative, guys. Don't miss that. So that when you write your final equation there, you have -2x plus 1 squared plus 1. And this here is the equation of the quadratic function in vertex form that has a vertex of -1, 1 and passes through the point 1, -7. That's it for the examples on this section. If you have any questions, let me know. Shoot me an email, send me a remind, or ask me tomorrow in class.